Do you think you truly know Savannah Guthrie? The polished co-anchor of the Today Show, the woman who greets America every morning with her radiant smile, incisive questions, and that effortless charm that somehow lightens even the heaviest news. For over a decade, she's been a trusted presence in our homes, interviewing presidents, sharing tender motherhood anecdotes, and weathering personal heartbreaks like her divorce, all with remarkable grace and resilience. But what if I told you that behind her perfect facade lies an extraordinary secret, one so tightly held it stretches back 3 decades, long before the NBC cameras framed her face? A secret so deeply buried that even her closest circle, her siblings, ex-husband, perhaps her own children, never suspected it. I'm not talking about tabloid-level scandals or sordid affairs. No, this is something far more layered, far darker. A hidden life Savannah carefully constructed over the years, even as she rose to fame. A second existence that has remained concealed until now. With her mother, Nancy's disappearance lingering for 10 agonizing days, the bloodstains on the porch, the eerily silent pacemaker, the enigmatic Bitcoin threats, Savannah's secret world is beginning to unravel. And it's not a kidnapper's ransom demand that set things in motion. It was a phone call, a call from someone who has always known the truth about Savannah's hidden life. Someone who shattered the image we thought we understood with revelations that change everything. It all began to come to light on a foggy February morning in 2026. Earlier today, as this is written, Savannah and her family were gathered in Tucson, their temporary headquarters wrapped in unease. A rented house near Nancy's empty home in the quiet Catalina foothills served as the nerve center of their search. Dawn found Savannah poring over tips and reports alongside her siblings, Annie and Cameron, working closely with Pima County detectives and FBI agents who had become an ever-present shadow in their lives. Outside Nancy's house, the crime scene tape waved eerily in the wind, a stark reminder of a nightmare that refused to loosen its grip. Despite their efforts, no new leads had surfaced since the previous day's missed deadline at 5 p.m. Volunteers scoured the desert scrub, drones hummed overhead, but the silence was deafening. There was no sign of an 84-year-old woman reliant on medication and a walker. At 8:30 a.m., Savannah's personal cell phone rang. She stepped outside onto the patio with the assumption that it was another update from authorities. Instead, a woman's voice, calm but urgent, greeted her on the other end. "Savannah, it's Elena. We need to talk about your mother and everything you've been hiding all these years." Savannah froze mid-step. Elena, a name she hadn't heard spoken out loud in decades, a name she'd erased from public memory, tied to a life so secret she believed no one could unearth its depths. Sources close to Savannah's family, individuals who overheard fragments of this conversation, confirmed its authenticity to me. They described Savannah's facade crumbling for the first time since Nancy vanished. Her tone shifted sharply into whispered tension as she hissed into the phone. "Not now, not like this. How did you even get this number?" But Elena pressed forward, undeterred. She spoke with razor-sharp precision, recalling dates from the early 1990s and referencing obscure details, places and events no one could possibly know unless they were part of the life. She mentioned a locket Savannah had gifted her years earlier, sealing the conversation with an undeniable implication. Nancy's disappearance wasn't random. "This is tied to us," Elena said flatly, "to what we built, and if you don't come clean, everything will fall apart." When Savannah hung up, her hands were trembling, pale, shaken to her core, but resolved to act. She ushered her siblings into a private huddle, no law enforcement agents allowed, to share a truth she had guarded for more than 3 decades, the truth about her double life. It all began when Savannah Guthrie, born Savannah Clark Guthrie in 1971, was just 16 years old. Back then, long before Today or NBC entered the picture, her life in Tucson seemed completely normal. She grew up in quiet suburban neighborhoods, attended public schools, and remained part of a loving yet tightly wound family circle. After her father's sudden death from a heart attack when she was just 16 years old, Nancy Guthrie became their anchor, raising Savannah and her siblings with tireless determination, faith, humor, and unwavering expectations. But beneath the ordinary surface of their lives lay an entirely different narrative, a shadowy reality few could have imagined, one that Savannah now knew could no longer stay buried. Joy was how Nancy faced hardships, steadfast and without complaint. For teenage Savannah, though, that resilience felt less like a foundation and more like an unbearable weight. Nancy's love was fierce but came with unyielding rules. Be strong, be independent, don't show weakness. In her household, emotions were private and image meant everything. Savannah thrived in that structure, earning straight A's, dominating debate team competitions, and securing her place at the University of Arizona. Yet beneath the polished perfection, she longed for something else: freedom, identity, and a life where she wasn't bound by the expectations of being the perfect daughter. That's when Elena entered the picture. Elena Ramirez, just 19 then, was an artist and activist in Tucson. She led a covert youth group, a safe haven for teens navigating their identities away from the suffocating judgment of their communities, in a time when being different often meant isolation or worse. In 1988, Savannah discovered the group by chance, noticing a flyer at school that promised a place to be yourself. Intrigued but apprehensive, she went. There, she met Elena, magnetic, fearless, and unapologetically queer in an unwelcoming town. Elena noticed in Savannah something extraordinary, buried deep under layers of expectation, a spark waiting to ignite. The two quickly connected, first as friends, then as much more. But this was the late 1980s, and with Nancy's strict household and Savannah's fear of disappointing her mother, their relationship had to remain secret. What began as rebellion morphed into something profoundly transformative. Elena introduced Savannah to an underground world, hidden art scenes, activist networks, and even whisked her into events using a fake ID. During these escapades, Savannah created Clark, her middle name, a freer version of herself. As Clark, she could write poetry, attend rallies, and live unchained from the relentless Guthrie rules. Even as Savannah excelled in college, law school, and eventually launched her journalism career, she maintained this dual existence. Weekend trips back to Tucson were not solely for family. Far from it. They were stolen hours in Elena's world, where Savannah shed the pretense demanded by her family. Nancy saw her daughter as driven and independent, a reflection of what she had worked so hard to instill. But beneath the surface, Savannah carried the weight of hiding her truest self. To Nancy, there was only one path to success: remain focused and unerring, to confess even a fraction of her double life, let alone reveal Elena, would have been devastating. So Savannah compartmentalized. Her connection with Elena deepened over the years, evolving far beyond teenage defiance. Elena offered safety, a confidant who knew who Savannah truly was beneath her polished exterior. Together, they dreamed of futures and shared their struggles. Savannah fearing failure under Nancy's towering expectations, Elena revealing her own family battles. As Savannah's journalism career soared to national prominence by the mid-2000s, eventually landing her at NBC, her double life endured in subtler ways. The visits to Tucson grew infrequent but emotionally intense. Elena had settled in a quiet suburb, teaching art classes and understanding the boundaries that came with loving someone who lived in two worlds. "Your mom made you who you are," Elena once told her with compassionate acceptance. "I'm grateful for the parts of you I get to have." But everything shifted with Nancy's sudden disappearance. The news shook their already precarious equilibrium. For years, Elena had quietly followed Savannah's successes from afar. Now she found herself glued to every update about Nancy's vanishing, piecing together fragments of information that pointed to connections neither had anticipated. Something from those early activist days, some distant grievance or dangerous misunderstanding tied to Clark's shadowy identity, might be resurfacing. Desperation drove Elena to act. "If I don't speak now," she warned Savannah over the phone, "the truth might die with me. Or with your mother." Savannah's eventual confession to her siblings hit like a thunderclap. Voice trembling, she admitted that she'd been living two lives since she was 16, that Elena had always been a part of it,